So Linda, I'm going to start with you,
Okay.
the mom, the force behind Anacostia Organics. Tell us a little bit about, how you got into this business and why you decided to open up in Ward 8 in Southeast DC, east of the river, as some refer to it.
Denise, I ask myself that all the time. As you know, I'm a longtime Washingtonian, been here 53 years, but I've always been an advocate and I've always supported, different organizations and people and, and all of that. That's my life. Even though I was in the public relations industry, most of my clientele were nonprofits and NGOs and, and that type of thing. But I moved to Ward 8 in 2000, bought my house and went to settlement in 2000. But being so connected in the political side and in the government for so many years, I was astonished to find out that DC had a medical cannabis industry. And started looking into where the dispensaries were located, who the owners were, that type of thing. My curiosity just got me, and found out um, that there was no dispensary east of the river, even though most of the patients, the medical patients, resided east of the river. There were only a few licenses and not really Washingtonians, long time Washingtonians. I started pursuing to open up at least one dispensary east of the river. So I had to go to the council and the mayor to get the laws changed for that. But then I was competing against everybody in the country. And so I always get my company CBE certified. We were able to, it was a long process. It was a 3-year process. And we were awarded the license in 2017 actually, and opened in 2019. So we were the first medical cannabis dispensary east of the river, and another one opened but closed subsequently. And we've been carrying, servicing our community all these years.
And you were the third Black woman in the country to get a license. So,
Yeah, I definitely want to get Tamia in here because I mean, the fact that and I don't know if our folks can change the screen because certainly want to see more of you, Tamia. I'm only seeing a little bit.
I know I'm trying
We,
to
we try to,
trying to
Yeah,
lean in there.
there
There we
we
go.
there we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, I mean, I want to hear how your mom was able to sort of last.
Well, I got to tell you, at first I was like, yeah, no, I really don't want to do this with you, but I believed in her mission, really strongly. I had a very stable job that I really enjoyed, a career path that I really enjoyed at the time when she when she started doing this, and I wasn't really ready to change, but I kept learning more and more. Of course, I'm at home with her, so I knew what was going on with the industry. I knew what was going on behind the scenes, how hard it was for her to not just to get open, but to continue to operate compliantly. And I knew everything that was, so I knew the challenges. And the more I saw of that, the more I realized that she really needed the person that you could trust implicitly by her side. And that's really what persuaded me to come on into this business with her. I mean, to fight this fight, to do this business, you have to be able, like I said, to trust people implicitly, and you have to have some wind beneath your wings because it's very difficult. It's very hard to do it alone.
Not only I would think is it difficult, but as the laws changed, and I don't know how much has changed, Linda, since you first opened your doors. I know that we just recently heard now that the mayor has introduced some legislation to allow beverage infused cannabis to be sold. I don't know how that's going to affect your business, but let's talk about a little bit about and I guess what do they call it? You can self
self-attest. Self-attest. So it's changed dramatically since I got in the industry. And before, when I was going through my application process, my colleagues that were already licensed in the industry, it was only five dispensaries and four cultivators,
Hmm.
growers in the industry during that time. They elected me as chair of the DC Medical Cannabis Trade Association because they knew my government background. They knew I, would be able to implement change in the industry and help it grow. And so it's grown a lot from having to go to a doctor to get a medical recommendation to the point where for DC residents, you could just self-attest. It's gone during COVID. I was able to get curbside pickup for the first time for the industry, able to get home delivery for the first time. There's just been a slew of changes. And of course, I teamed up with the I-71 committee to for the city to open up the application process and let those who were operating illegally, where the city wasn't getting any taxpayer dollars, there was no safety measures for patients to allow them to come into the market legally. So there's been a lot of change, and I'm proud to say all this change has happened, under my leadership. And it's really been difficult. DC was the first on the East Coast to legalize adult cannabis, which we still have, but there's one member of Congress, Andy Harris from Maryland, that puts a rider on our budget each year in Congress that keeps us from doing that. So you have to get creative, but things are changing in the industry rapidly.
What about consumer understanding of the industry? I mean, you all now you said you can self-attest. People are maybe not knowing kind of, they walk into your store and they don't know what they want, but the doctor said, yes, it's okay. I mean, how does that work? I don't know. How does it work, to purchase products or to know what is the right product for you?
Well, I mean, there's a variety of ways in which operators perform this task. We take a very patient-focused, community centered way of offering our services to people. We're not, our motto is that we're a family, not a factory. So we're not just trying to bring you in and take you and get you out the door, just put any old product in your hand and let that be it. We really are conscious. We take time with people. We lead them, we help them with the process of getting the registration, and we take time and spend time in consultation with people, finding out what are they actually trying to treat, how they're trying to feel, what they're trying to accomplish, with the product that we have, and then we suggest products for them that we think might help, but it's a give and take between the patient who comes to us and our staff because we're not doctors and we don't pretend to be doctors. We don't offer medical advice.
Mm.
What we do is we listen, we do a lot of research and and then we try to direct people towards the things that we think might help them. And sometimes it takes a couple times. People come back and say, well, this worked great. This didn't work so great, to try to find the right thing. But also you raised another great point about education in this city, about for the average person going in the city who wants to go to a cannabis dispensary, it's not very easy for them to know which ones are legal and which ones are not.
Mm.
Even though you can go on to ABCA's website and there's a list, but it's a
That's the
government website.
alcohol beverage and control.
Alcohol Beverage Cannabis Administration. Yes.
Oh, yes,
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Hmm.
Go on the website.
Yeah, but you have to navigate there through DC's government website. But if you go to their medical program on their website, then you can find a list of all the legal dispensaries in the city. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say we also do a lot of education throughout the community. And when I was going applying for my application, I did a lot of community events. I went to the churches, I went to the ANCs, I held conversations with Linda in my home twice a month, and I invited various neighbors, just mixed it up each time. So because people have a the negative thoughts and beliefs about this plant, going back to the 60s and everything, and it's far different. It's
Yeah,
far different. It's definitely medicinal, and there's so many forms of getting the benefits from cannabis rather than smoking. There are tinctures, there are gummies, there are bath soaks, there are bath salts. There's so many different ways of getting the benefits of it. And it's true, almost every country in the world now is legalizing cannabis. I think there are like 40 some countries. We are sandwiched between two countries that have totally legalized cannabis, Canada and Mexico. And now we have, I think, 30 some states that have totally legalized for both adult use and recreational, and several more for just medical. So it's really not recreationally popular. It's helping people heal all types of symptoms.
so here you are. It's Small Business Month. You're a black woman with her daughter in a predominantly black neighborhood, no
Yeah,
longer predominantly black city, but in a
yeah.
neighborhood. And maybe at one time, did that ever bring you sort of more value to your customers? Or now, I mean, do people really care about that? How do people, I guess I'm trying to say, we have this, support black business kind of thing going
Mhm.
on, right? But is it working for you all?
Somewhat, we're not able to advertise like other businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't begin to tell you how many people ring our doorbell every day and ask us if we have organic milk or organic this or whatever. I named it Anacostia Organics as homage to the land, to the people of the land, and to the river.
Well, and also at the time that we opened, you could not put cannabis or dispensary anywhere in your name.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't
And there's a lot,
even advertise what you were actually selling.
right.
Yeah. So but it's been when people find out that we're here in their community, they've been receptive.
We have, yeah,
Go
I'm
on.
sorry. Yeah, I mean, a lot of our first time patients, yeah, that's a shot of our interior.
Beautiful store. Yeah.
It's gorgeous in here, and I feel no need to be humble about it. I think it's a beautiful representation of my mother, and we wanted to make a space where people felt welcomed and where people felt healthy and where people felt like they're a family. And people come in our neighborhood and they always put up something. They put up bulletproof glass, or they put up some funky looking place that looks dirty or messy, and our neighborhood, our community deserves beautiful spaces, you know and that's our actual mission here, is to provide the healing and to provide a community space that our neighborhood deserve. But I was just going to say, to go back to your point, like, yes, people do, there are a lot of people who shop consciously,
Mm-hmm.
and spend their money consciously. And the majority of the out of town visitors that we get here choose us because they want to support a Black woman owned business. I hear that constantly from people that, like, oh, well, your customer service reviews were phenomenal and through the roof. And, you're Black woman owned. So I can't go wrong. Like, I came here because of that. Like, so, we get that from all people, all different types of people from all walks of life.
And you don't have to be a DC resident to actually get a card here. We accept medical cards from DC, accepts medical cards from any state in the United States and any U.S. territory. So if you have one, you just bring that and present that. And if you don't have one, and if over 18 or
21.
21, you can self-attest with your ID and get like a weekend card for $10 or up to a year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's accessible, and we're looking forward to growth. And we're having difficult times right now, but we're looking at rebuilding and restocking, and looking for investors and partners as this industry grows.
Well, I know that I think you mentioned once upon a time, you're doing some special sessions for women, for people with cancer. I know a lot of cancer patients use cannabis for, part of their treatment and other areas. Are there some specific areas that you're focused on now that, you think there's a need that to be addressed for the local community to understand more about how cannabis can be helpful or how to use the products?
Well, I invite them to come in first of all to see the dispensary. It's beautiful. Everybody comes, gets a hug and everything. But yes, I mean, I've always been committed to helping people all my life, and so this is something that the people with stage 4 cancer is something I do out of my pocket through the dispensary. It is not in any law or anything, but I have educated kids. I've paid for funerals. I've paid for, a lot of things when I had money, and I've always supported our organizations. But, when you have cancer and facing, the ultimate goodbyes, it's really, really difficult. So I'm doing what I can to help. I also made a commitment to hire from our community, which I am proud to say I have done. We've been open 7 years, and 90% of my staff has been hired from this community. And I'm just focused on my community and making sure that it survives and is healed.
Well, I don't want to, I mean, we're running out of time, but I don't want to act as though I didn't hear what you said a couple times, and that these are some difficult times for you all.
Yes.
The business is not, I think all of us are struggling right now, but you all
Yes.
are as well. What would you want to?
Well, we're currently running a community contribution campaign to help bridge the gap. Right now, we're looking for, like Mom said, we're looking for investment or investment partners. But in the meantime, we've been serving the community for 7 years, bringing tested, safe, high quality medical cannabis to the community. And our community, we're asking the community to help step up and help us during this time, which a lot of our community members are doing through financial contributions in exchange for store credit at a future date. So, we've had people who just said, I have $20. That's all I have, but I want to do something to help you. And they did that. I've had people contribute well over 1,000. But the reality of the situation is that uh, in order to keep the shelves stocked at a cannabis dispensary, at a licensed cannabis dispensary, it's costly. So we're trying to continue to that outreach to the community to help us bridge this gap. Like I said, because we know that with the rescheduling, the federal rescheduling of medical cannabis to a Schedule 3 drug makes the proposition of investing a lot more attractive. And we know that there's some good things on the
I
horizon.
just want to interject that this is not run like any other business because we're still federally illegal, even though we are licensed by our state. We have operated all these years, and anybody that's legally licensed in the cannabis industry, we have no tax deductions. And we can't, all of our insurances and all the cost of doing business, none of that is deductible. So it's totally out of our revenue, the top of it.
Until
So
just recent.
until yes, President Trump just signed just had us reschedule from a 1 to a 3, schedule 1 to a 3. We used to pay 65 cents to 85 cents of every dollar of revenue to IRS. That is backdated to January 1, 2026.
Yeah.
So, we will start feeling profit in a year or so. So,
Mm.
and we can start giving back even more to the community.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
plan.
yeah, that's good. We can give them credit for something, and we certainly do hope that Anacostia Organics can continue to not only survive but thrive on Martin Luther King Avenue in Ward 8. We didn't say where you are, but you're on Martin Luther King Avenue. And what block is that? That's the
With
address.
2022 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. So we actually opened before Bus Boys,
Right.
and we're
Okay.
right next to Bus Boys. There's a parking lot that separates us.
That's one thing we like about downtown Anacostia. It is growing, and you all have
Yes,
contributed to that growth. So we're glad to
yes,
see you there.
yes.
I want to thank you for being with us. We certainly do want to help to continue to get the story out.
Thank you.
We always want, and then when we don't support, then we're like, well, what happened? And it's because we didn't step up. So whether you are a cannabis user or consumer or not, we want to support our small businesses. And so this is one that I hope that the message gets out and folks will come to the rescue. So thank you
Thank
both.
you. We're trying to create a legacy like you all have. And seriously, we talk about that all the time. And,
Nice.
with the Washington Informer, and I always tell everybody I want to be the Ben's Chili Bowl of cannabis.
All right. All right. Have to get Miss Ali over there with you for.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Ladies, thank you so much for being with us. And
Thank you.
all righty, take care.